let's presume that you get to later life and you need nursing care. You might own your own home. You might have a few quid in the bank. So what are you entitled to and what you're not entitled to? Is this down to Vicki?
It is, yes.
All right,
thank
Vicki.
you. Okay, so the principle of the current system is really that those who can pay do have to pay towards their care at the moment for as long as they're financially able to do so.
So until they've run out of resources, you'll keep taking the money?
They will, until their resources go to a certain level, they will have to self-fund. Once their resources get below a certain level, and that's dependent on the costs of the care that they're provided with. So I can't give an exact amount, but once it gets below a certain level, they do get some income support to help them, and that income support raises as their assets and capital decreases.
All right.
For those who can't afford to pay, income support is the benefit that they would claim to help top up their private income. And what income support is, it's an income-based benefit that looks at their particular circumstances, so their costs, and those costs are prescribed in the law. So we look at a personal allowance cost for them, and then we look at a cost for their care. And then what we do is we have a look at their income that they have, which is made up mainly of state pension, personal pensions. They may have income from property that they may have. And then if they're in nursing care on a universal basis, people are entitled to the nursing care contribution as well. So we have a look at their income and subtract their income from what their prescribed costs are, and the amount that's left over gives them an amount of income support that's payable to them.
Okay. So, but I mean, that's the detail of it, I suppose.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is that if you're skint, you don't pay anything. The state pays it for you.
Well, the situation is that if you have no income, then income support will give you the maximum allowable towards your care home fees.
Which is pretty expensive, isn't it? I mean, basic care homes are something like, is it 450 quid a week or something like that?
Yeah.
£900 a week if you need nursing care.
Yeah, or more, sometimes higher.
Oh, yeah, that's
the amount that is charged by the homes, but income support does have a maximum allowance towards care home fees, which does not at the moment meet the actual costs of nursing care.
So what makes up the difference?
There are some disregards on some of their income, so there are certain parts of their income we ignore for income support purposes, and then I think in the majority of the cases family contribute towards that shortfall, or they may have, for example, have a property that they're able to rent out to provide them with some income,
or sell.
But or sell, yeah. But it's really on an individual basis. Families make up that shortfall between them.
It's a horrendous amount of money. I mean, Chris Thomas, isn't that something that government needs to be looking at, the amount of money that is charged by these private operators? Is it something that should be in the private sector, or should governments operate all nursing and care homes?
There was since I think it's 1998, 1999, government's been out of one of the sectors, and recently something changed a little bit, but that's a policy option. But I say politicians haven't in recent years made a choice about that. I suppose that's one option that will be on the table for politicians later.
Yeah.
I mean, it is costing us tens of millions in terms of income support for this, so it's a serious issue, it's a pressing issue, it's an important issue, but it's not an easy issue to solve. And at this stage I want to make sure that everybody really understands what's going on in terms of income support, in terms of demography and the like.
I don't know that many people who aren't directly affected by this, they might have elderly parents themselves and have suddenly found this out, that, you know, if they need proper nursing care, it can be £900 a week or more, as you say, Vicki.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, families just can't find that kind of money usually, can they? £1,000 a week, £900,000 a week.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the messages we got from the public meeting at the Legion, was that this was putting massive strain on family relationships, and you know, people were really struggling to cover that shortfall, and it was a real cause of stress for people.
Yeah.
So it is finding that balance between, you know, having your maximum allowances in income support rather than just meeting the actual costs of care, which could spiral, you know, and making sure that people are properly protected and can access the care that they need.
All right. I mean, in terms of the formulas, and I've read through the notes and the PowerPoint on this, it still confuses me. I was never very good at maths, but it seems that your first 13,000 quid of savings are safe.
Yeah.
if you need help. But beyond that, any property that you've got, any shares, land, investments, they're all classed as assets, which you are expected to defray at some point to pay for your care home costs.
It's right that any assets that you've got will a value will be taken from them, and they will reduce the amount of income support that's payable to you. Once your assets get to 13,000 or below, they won't have any impact on the amount of income support that's payable to you. But because there is a shortfall, many people were telling us they were having to dip into that 13,000 to make up the shortfall. So it wasn't a ring-fence fund that they would never have to dip into, because the realities are that the benefits don't at the moment meet the maximum. Well, there isn't a maximum amount that the homes can charge, so people are having to dip into that 13,000, but they are no worse off in terms of income support for having anything up to £13,000 in capital.